And here we go. Hey, everybody. Happy New Year from the deck.
Happy New Year.
Welcome to the Drummers Education Connection. We're here with you guys every Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And today I'm here with my good friends and DEC co-founders, co-members Rick Stojak and Bart Robley.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for
everybody.
joining
How
us.
you doing?
Our fourth wheel, Chip Ritter, was not able to make it today, but we hope to have him back next week. Anyways, hope you guys all had a nice holiday and a relaxing time and a safe time. Hope everybody's out there is healthy and being safe and social distancing and wearing masks and getting through this together. We want to talk today about the new year. We want to talk about goals. We want to talk about plans. We want to talk about what we hope to manifest this year in our drumming, in our teaching, in our private practice. And we want to hear from you guys. So if you have any questions or thoughts about how we can help you achieve your goals, you can benefit from our years of wisdom and experience. Between us, we've got about 150 years of drumming under our belts, and we're here to help. We're here to talk about stuff. So, all right, now I'm going to kick it over to Bart Robley. And Bart, what do you think about, we had an interesting post on our Facebook page yesterday. We had posted our artwork for the session today about goals for setting goals for 2021. And I forget the name of the guy. I can't see it right now. Somebody chimed in with a comment that said, I think goals are the wrong way to frame it. Goals are always end up in disappointment, kind of like New Year's resolutions. So what do you think about that?
I kind of disagree with that. And I see, I think it was Brad.
Brad, yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. And you know what? I want to say something else. I'm on the Facebook page kind of monitoring stuff. I don't know why my stuff is out of focus today, but it's on focus here on StreamYard. So hopefully everybody can bear with me. Anyway, yeah, I have to disagree with that. And the reason is because of what you just said. I think that New Year's resolutions are something that, okay, I'm gonna set a New Year's resolution to whatever it may be, right? I'm gonna lose weight. I'm gonna get in shape. I'm gonna be a better this person, and that usually lasts till about January 14th, and then it's over with.
That's a good year.
Everybody wants to go to the gym and lift weights and get in shape until they go and do it, and they realize that when you start lifting weights, those things are heavy. So they don't want to do it anymore. So I think a resolution is something that, I don't know. I think setting goals is super important. I mean, any business person, anybody that's achieved things, they usually achieve them by setting goals and then reaching those goals by taking little bits and pieces of, towards that goal, taking short steps towards that goal. And I think sports and music equate well together, in the sense that, let's say you take any of the great players, the legendary players from any sport. So you can take Michael Jordan from basketball, John Elway from football, whatever. At one point in Michael Jordan's life, he was not good at playing basketball. And I know that is incredibly hard to think of, right? I mean, Michael Jordan, not good at basketball, but when he was a little kid, he may have been born with a certain gift to play basketball. He may have been had more of a natural talent towards it, but he still had to work to get good at playing basketball. And he got good by doing that, by probably setting goals for himself, practicing hard, loving what it was that he did. But setting those goals, I think, is very important. I think just having a resolution and say, I'm going to be a great drummer. Okay, that's awesome. We all want to be great drummers, but how do you get from point A to point B? And how do you take the steps between point A and point B to get there? So that's my. What about you, Rick?
Brad, I really appreciate that you your comments. So we really welcome that. Even if somebody has a comment that might be controversial to some of us, it's great because then we can have a discussion of it. And so I'm glad you posted that, and it really makes me rethink. Well, what is this goal thing that everybody talks about? And so I'm just kind of thinking about reframing what the word goal is. So that might be part of it. I get it. Goal is just a setup for a failure. I get that, like a resolution, like losing weight. But I like to think of goals as momentum. And like, so goals are momentum, goals are action. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find very many successful people who aren't all about goals. And so I can just say, for me, that works, but everybody's got to do what works for them. The first thing that, like, every year I do write out my goals, and I think the key is to have just good short-term obtainable goals. So you've got something to focus on. So, right, man, if your goal is, man, I'm going to replace John Bonham, dude, forget it, Right. But if your goal is, hey,
hold on, I got to scratch that off my list.
But an obtainable goal, like, you know what, I want to join a local band. Some short-term, step-by-step goals that you can write out and you can measure, and you can see, man, I really did achieve that. And I think for many people, without having that written down and that mindset, we just kind of wander. And then I do like to have some long-term goals too. So short-term and long-term. And so it's a thing that I think you have to experiment with constantly, year to year, and tweak it. But for me, man, goal setting has been everything. But the other thing is you have to be wise about the goals. Yep. You've got to do a little bit of research on it. Is your goal, do you really want that goal? Is it really reckless? Like, man, I want to be out on the road, man. That's it. I want to be a road musician. Well, careful for what you wish for, because being on the road might be a disaster for your health and your relationships, and it might not pay as much as you want to. So really, really, really analyze each and every one of them. And, and I also say it's okay if you don't make every goal. That's
sure.
At least you got in there and got up to bat.
Right.
Hey,
Jeremy, I know you're a goal setter.
Yeah, real quick, Jeremy, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Make sure there's some great comments on the Facebook page. A lot of them are popping up. If you can share those, people probably enjoy that. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump over there, Jeremy. I just thought I'd let you share those so we could answer those.
Well, I'm gonna say my bit first, and then I'll post those comments.
Okay, go for it.
Yes, I do think goals are important, but it can be a double-edged sword. And like you guys are saying, I think one of the really important pieces of this is to be very, very thoughtful about what kind of goals you set, because it's really easy to set a goal that's going to end in disappointment or difficulty in achieving it, and then you just get discouraged, and then it's a cycle of failure, right? I'm a believer in process a lot, and process more than product. So, you can set yourself a goal. There's nothing wrong with setting a goal for, like, I want to, join a band this year, or I want to play at this venue, or I want to, get on the cover of Modern Drummer. Those are great goals to have, and they're, power to you if you set those for yourself and you work toward achieving them. But for me, it's more about, setting goals to achieve things that are within my control, right? So, like, getting on the cover of Modern Drummer, not so much in my control. I mean, yeah, I can make steps to try to get there, but, like, really, I don't make that decision, right? Even joining a band, like, there are so many factors around that are out of my control. So the things that I'm going to be thinking about when I'm setting goals are, okay, I'm going to work on how hard I'm practicing, or how many people I'm networking with, or how organized I'm going to put together some new teaching materials that I've been wanting to put together for a while. Things that I know that I can control, and if I'm disciplined about them, I'll be able to achieve them. Things, again, more about process than about product. But there's nothing wrong with pie in the sky stuff, and there's nothing wrong with dreaming about achievements and successes. I think those are great. And it's really hard, like you said, Rick, without a vision for what you're after, you tend to just drift. So I think it's really important to have a vision, to create a vision and craft a plan for achieving, bringing that vision to manifest. And you just want to be really thoughtful about what you're looking for. Where do you want to be in 5 weeks, in 5 months, in 5 years, and what can you do to help yourself get to that position that's within your control, as opposed to, just dreaming about stuff that you have no control over. Yeah.
What do you do about, so Jeremy, when you said, like, you talked about visualizing things, right?
Yeah.
I think that's really important. What do you do? How do you get, and this maybe is another subject, but how do you get into the visualization of achieving a goal? Do you do that? Like, okay, I can really see myself, playing this groove or playing this song or playing in that band. Do you think visualization helps?
I think it does. Yeah. I mean, I think you got to start with knowing what you're wanting if you want to get it. I think when I was younger, for a while, I just had this very vague, generalized notion of wanting to be successful. And I hadn't honestly thought about what successful really meant. I hadn't unpacked that or figured out what that really looked like. Okay. And I was talking with a friend of mine. This is, early 20s. So I was a kid, and I was talking with a piano player friend of mine, and she said, what I get that you want to be successful, but what does that really look like? What are you doing that's making you feel successful, right? Because that can mean totally different things to different people. It could be being on tour, it could be cover a modern drummer, it could be record contracts, it could be adoring fans, it could be endorsements, whatever it is, right? And like Rick said, you have to be really careful, because sometimes you'll think that these things that you achieve will make you happy and bring you this feeling of fulfillment, and then you get them, and turns out the horizon just keeps moving forward. And the thing that you thought would make you feel fulfilled and happy is just a moment instead of the end, right? And that's it.
Right. You could,
it's just a moment.
It's just a moment, right?
I have friends that have come back from playing tours that are miserable. They've hated the road, and it was really big, world famous bands, and they hated it. And they got treated terribly, and and they got out of shape, and they were, so you just balance is really important, in terms of your life and in terms of the goals you set and what you want to achieve. And that's part of what I think about, when I think about setting my own goals. I'm not trying to envision, I want to play in this band. Sometimes I do in my private moments want to play in that band, but like, it's really just about, how do I want to feel about what I'm doing, and I if I can carry that through everything I do, my dedication to passing on my passion to my students and being present for them and playing the best drums that I can play by practicing as much as I can to be prepared for the gig, then I'm going to be putting myself in a position to be more successful.
There you go. I think it comes down to being happy. I think you could set a goal, and then you reach the goal, and then you find that you're still empty because you think that goal is gonna fulfill you and make you happy. So, this is a great era for a lot of soul searching. We all have a little bit more time, and for many of us, it's like, oh man, I'm my goal is to make my full living as being a performing musician or educator. But is that truly going to make you happy? It could be that having a day job gave you the flexibility to have artistic freedom, and that's more fulfilling. So, definitely think it through. But I think you got to get in there and start playing with this. That's at least the beginning aspect of this. It's at least just start it rather than just wander.
So I totally agree. And let's talk about, for a lot of people, they do have specific goals, and they set them for themselves. Bart, can you say whose comment this is? Because I can't.
Yes, this is from David Betts.
So David says, to achieve your goal or vision, or an aim, you must plan. And that is to say, how to make it happen. You can't do a goal or a vision. A goal needs a plan. Without a plan, it remains just a goal. Many people have visions and intentions, etc., but you need to have a plan. So I think that's totally right. It's really easy to wish for a pie in the sky and think about, oh, I want to have this, I want to achieve that. But you got to think about what are the steps you need to get there, and how are you going to achieve that by taking one little piece at a time.
One of the things that I want to throw at that is I always have when it comes to drumming and really, and this kind of is a good place to plug your book, because your book, Jeremy, is so much more about life and drumming than it is just about drumming. Finding the Groove, an amazing book. And I think that when we set goals as musicians, you know, when you're a musician, it's kind of an all-encompassing thing, because you're always trying to, you know, better yourself, right? So I try to set three different types of goals. I try to set a personal goal for myself personally. What do I want to do to better myself as a person? And then I try to, how do I want to better my business as a drummer, whether it be drum lessons and teaching, or doing gigs, or doing recording sessions, whatever. How am I going to grow my business, right? And so I'll set goals with that to achieve that. And then of course my personal drumming goals. And so since we're talking about drums and stuff, I'll jump in there. As far as drumming goals, the thing that I do, and it kind of seems to go in these little groups of three, right? I try to have three different things that I'm working on. And usually it's a snare drum book, so I might be playing some etudes or solos or what have you. And then it might be, to go along with that, it might just be a technique thing. You know, I'm working on my finger technique, or I'm working on my molar technique, right? And then it would be my drum set playing. And it could be very simple that, hey, there's this one song that every drummer in the world knows how to play, but I've never learned that song, so I'm going to learn that song, right? Might be something that simple. And within those goals, I'll break it down from there. If I'm working, let's say, out of stick control, we've all worked out of stick control, and I'm playing through the first page for the billionth time, but I want to do it on my feet, you know? So I want to go from, you know, 60 beats a minute to 80 beats a minute. And I want to do, and it's Monday and I'm at 60 beats here, but I want to be at 80 by Friday, right? So then how do I do that? Well, I achieve that goal. Okay, I'm at 80 on Friday. Well, where do I want to go from there? And you know, and then again, like you guys are saying, why do you want to do that? Why do you want to get your feet to go to 80 beats a minute and be able to play the whole page? Why do you want to do that? So I think, you know, breaking it down like that is kind of a big thing.
And that's part of why having a drum teacher can be so important and so helpful in helping students figure out what are the proper goals to set, right? So if you know, like you say, why do I want to get my double bass drum speed fast? Well, because I want to play some heavy metal. Okay, well, great. Well, that's a perfect goal to work toward, to be able to achieve that greater goal of being able to play comfortable playing that music.
Right.
You know, why do you need to work on your independence, you know, in triplet context? Well, because I want to be able to play jazz. Okay, well, right. Because if you don't want to play jazz, just doing the exercises for the exercise sake doesn't necessarily help you achieve your goal, right?
Right.
Yeah. And you know, really that's what I mean about focusing on the process. Because if you're working on your double bass, okay, and you're at, you know, 80 BPM and you want to get to 120, well, you're not going to go from 80 to 120 in a day or in a week. You're going to go from 80 to 82 if you're lucky in the first day, right? And so it's just breaking it down to the little pieces. And so when you say to yourself, I'm going to practice, you know, my double bass blast beats, you know, 10 minutes a day, that's a goal you can control. I'm going to play it for 10 minutes a day. And then you're going to see the results happen. They're going to help you achieve that goal. Eventually you'll get up to 120 if you stay with it and are disciplined.
One of the things that, and I think that when you, let me ask you this actually, before I give you an opinion on this, do you guys ever, like for a student, do you ever show a student, okay, look, I'm working on this. I'm playing this part right here and I can't do it, and play it for them and show them that I'm struggling with this. I'm trying really hard, but I'll show it to you in a week from now and it'll be better. Do you guys ever do that? Do you think that that is a good thing to let your students see that and see them, you know, do you do that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
I think
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic for them to see it, because then you're modeling for them the right kind of humble and dedicated and disciplined approach to, like, look,
Yeah. Yeah.
even me, you might think I'm this, drumming god, which of course, I'm just, Jeremy.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, stop.
No, you
Um,
are, man.
You
but,
are. You are.
right. But here I am trying to play this, and it might even be something, once in a while it's even something that they're working on and I can't play it. Maybe it's like some Garibaldi groove that I haven't, I'll be able to get it more quickly than them because I can assimilate it more readily. But like, I'll show them, wow, like, look, I can't play it either. So let's come back next week and I'm going to show you how much work I did on it and what happened to it. And I want you to show me the same. And then it's a great way for them. And it's really good for me. It motivates me. It kicks my own butt to, like, then I've really got to step it up and show that I've worked on it. But yes, how about you, Rick? Do you do that with your students?
I definitely, sometimes people will bring in a song and say, oh, I want to learn this song. And they've skipped so many steps. Like, they want to do something way syncopated, way out there, but they can't do a basic kind of syncopation, just adding an E or a on the snare. And like, I want to do this song. And I'll say, all right, well, look how much time it takes me to just figure this out. I'm not sight reading this. I'll recite the Bonham again. I'm not, playing this just like Bonham did. It takes me a while. So then I could say, if that's your goal, very, very cool. Well, then me as a teacher, that's my responsibility. I want to help you reach your goals. So then I'm going to say, well, then we need to go through this chapter and this chapter in my book, which will build up that entire process. And then I think the other, oh, there you go. Yeah, every rhythm under the sun is in that book. You go through that, then you can figure out any fill. So yeah, and then I think we've got to watch out too a little bit for our social media Instagram world. I have a lot of, hey, yeah, look at that.
Look at that smiling face.
Look at that. Oh wow, look at that. Yeah, that's got every kind of 16th note combination you could imagine. I mean, so much framework is in there before you can go forward with some crazy stuff. Yeah. Right. And so it's just like you can't skip steps. I mean, we could try a student version of the song, which that's cool too. And but with this Instagram world, you've got videos of drummers who are playing paradiddles at 108 with their feet at 180 beats a minute, and somebody comes in and that's my goal. I'm like, that's fine. You know how to play a paradiddle. You've got some good foot technique. Go for that. But is that really going to get you a gig? Right.
Yeah, my question for that person is, why do you want to do that? And they may have a good answer, but most of the time they don't.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's the point? What's the point of that? That guy has got a lot of likes on Instagram. Right. That's not going to get you a gig.
Yeah, that comes back to our roles as teachers, is to help them understand what their goals are, help them figure out what their goals should be, and then how to take the steps to get there, right? Because that's what we do. We lay out a plan. And as a teacher, it's so important to have a curriculum, to have a plan to help people achieve goals, right? You can't just use the one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter approach with every student, because not every student is trying to get to the same place, right? I've got some students in high school who are playing in their high school jazz bands, what do you call stage band, and they've got a different set of stuff that they work on than my young heavy metal kids who are wanting to thrash, and they've got a different set of stuff than my teenagers who are working in or playing in orchestra and working on their snare technique. There's definitely some overlap in what they work on, but there's a ton of different stuff. Every student has their own unique plan with me to help them achieve their goals.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm always about what is the student's goal, not what's my goal, what's my agenda. My agenda is, I don't know, it's kind of irrelevant. It's like, what do they want to do? I have one guy, his agenda is to come in every week and we're going to jam to live video, concert videos. And we just jam, and he wants a workout. He wants an athletic workout with no breaks. He wants to treat it like a set. like you're playing a live set, and he's, you know, a big fitness buff. So that's his goal. And I'm like, okay. And then I always say, you know, you'd play that a little better if we did this or that. And he's, you know,
That's
sometimes he'll do it, but most of the time that's his goal. So I'm happy with that, as long as he's happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think as our teacher, we've got to get our egos out of the way.
Yep.
You know,
that's one of the things I think we need to do all around, you know, whether it's an, you know, and you know, in the goal mindset, you know, whether it's with a student or, I mean, you would take that same thought process into a recording session, right? You know, it's not, you know, I'm trying to serve the song or the producer or the songwriter, right? And my goal is to make them happy. I think one of the things, and Rick, I wanted to throw this out there because you brought up Instagram and let's just say the social media world, right? As a whole. And I will compare, I will say this when working with a metronome, I got to go around my elbow to get to my thumb on this point, but when you work with a metronome, it's really easy to turn on that metronome. We've talked about it, and turn it off immediately, because man, it is just really hard to play with that thing and be right in time. That thing is, man, it's perfect, and I'm not. It's not going to speed up or slow down unless I push that button telling it to do so.
Bart, I just want to say my metronome speeds up and slows down all the time.
Mine too. We must have the same metronome. That sucker slows down on me every day. You know what? Funny story. I was doing a recording session with a producer one time, and I'd worked with him before, and I went in and I was happy. I played good in the session. And he goes, "Yeah, really good job." I go, "Yeah, you got your metronome fixed. It quit slowing down on you." So anyway, when we're working with a metronome, using a metronome to set goals for yourself, right? That's a big deal. It can be the carrot in the stick, right? It can be the thing that, you know, helps you. Okay, I'm at 100 beats on Monday. I want to be at 120 on Friday. It can be the tool to judge your progress by. It can be a tool to help your time. Don't let it be an ego killer. Don't sit there and go, and I tell this to all my students, don't use it to set goals with, to get better. Don't sit there and go, gosh, I can only play at 60 beats a minute with my double bass. I suck. No. Now, that being said, that comes back around to the Instagram or Facebook world. And I got to say this, you know, I think that when we look at social media as a whole, you see people on there that, you know, they're not going to put a video of them up just sucking. You know, they're not going to put up a thing just, oh man, this is horrible, everybody watch it. They're going to put up the end result of a lot of hard work that got them there, right? And so don't compare yourself. Please don't compare yourself. I tell all my students to the guys on Instagram or on YouTube or anything like that, because like the sports figures that I mentioned before, or the drummers that, you know, we all look up to, it took them a long time to get there. And in their personal life, they're just like all of us. They have problems. They have things going on that aren't good in their life. They're putting the end result of a lot of hard work on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook of them playing and shredding. And who knows, as soon as they get off of the social media, they might be having a bad day, you know, and we all go through those things. Don't compare yourself to them. The only person that you should ever compare yourself to is you yesterday. Am I better today than I was yesterday? And that's something that I think that we have to put into the mindset of setting goals. Because if we don't do that, if we don't put our mindset of, okay, I just want to be better today than I was yesterday, and tomorrow I want to be better at, you know, whatever it is, the double bass on the you know, eighth notes on the bass drum. I want to be better tomorrow than I am today. Those are the way you want to set the goals. You don't want to set your goals. Well, I'm going to, you know, I said this in one before, you know, I'm going to out drum Dave Weckl. That's probably not going to happen. You know, set goals for yourself that are realistic, and don't compare yourself. Please don't do that.
Well, and you know, the people that we see that are experts in what they do, I think a lot about athletes. You know, when I watch the Olympics, I love watching the Olympics.
Yeah.
And you see these athletes and they get to perform their thing for like sometimes, you know, 10 seconds. That's all they get in their whatever ski down the slope or whatever it is, 30 seconds a minute. And it's easy to look at that like, oh man, I'd love to be in the Olympics. I love to ski. Wouldn't that be cool? And like what you don't see is the hours and days and months and years of work that they've put in training, brutal training, and all the sacrifices they've made to get to that place where they can have a chance in that 30 seconds to perform at that high level.
Yeah.
So, that's what I mean. You got to commit to the process, because that's all there is. You just like you said, Bart, you want to just be better tomorrow than you were today. And the more committed you are to that process, the better you're going to get, the more enjoyable. For me, I always tell my students, the better you get, the more enjoyable the process is.
That's right.
Or the more enjoyable it becomes, because like, oh my God, this sounds really good. It satisfies your ego more. But at the same time, you have to enjoy the process no matter where you're at on the spectrum. You can have just as much fun playing on day 1 as you do on day 10,000.
Right.
I think if you're enjoying the process, it's a good indication that you're on the right path. If it's a constant struggle, then maybe you have to assess it. That maybe you're not going to be the first call drummer in Latin gigs, but maybe rock and roll is your calling. You really like rock and roll drumming. I think you're not going to get good at a style that you don't love.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And
we want to be diverse with all of our playing too, so we can draw from all these styles. But yeah, go with your heart.
That's a really good point, Rick. When I was younger, I thought I had to be like expert at everything until I realized, how difficult it was to be expert at any one thing.
Yeah.
You can spend your whole life studying, Wawanko or New Orleans second line playing and just be really, really good at that. And to be the first call, whatever, bebop guy, Latin guy, feel guy, funk guy, you've got to be deep, deep, deep into it. So, follow your passion, follow what turns you on, and that's what you'll get good at.
Yeah, that's it. You got to get into the culture of it. Like, do you if you really want to be, in the metal world, you got to go to metal concerts. You got to hang out with people who are into that scene. Whatever it is, eat the food, drink the drink, of whatever.
Let me ask you guys a question about this, because this is a really good. Maybe we could even blow this up into a whole nother discussion. What do you do when we each have our bag of stuff that is our sort of core, right? I mean, I know as teachers, we cover a lot of styles and we can all play various different styles, but there's certain stuff that's like your wheelhouse, right? Mm-hmm. Like that you've dedicated yourself to. You love that music. It could be blues, shuffles, funk, whatever, jazz. Mm-hmm. What do you get when you got a student who comes to you who's clearly dedicated to this one style that's not really in your wheelhouse? It's a good question, right?
It's a great question, man. It's a fantastic question.
What I do is I look at the rhythmic breakdown of what they're interested into. Is it a 16th note thing? Is it a triplet thing? And even if it's not in my wheelhouse, I say, well, at least you should know all of the permutations of the triplets or the 16ths and do that, and then take it and do what you will with it. So that's it. And then of course, if they're way advanced and all, and they're, it's way deep, then I'm not afraid to refer them over to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's whatever you say, somebody I'm going to send your way to do some New Orleans drumming, Jeremy. That's going to happen. I know one day.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I run into the same thing. I've had guys that come in and they just really want to dive into Latin, and I'm like, okay. And they understand a little bit about it, and maybe I understand just a little bit more. So I'll work with them on, okay, well, first of all, again, what we've been saying, what are your goals? What is it that you want to do with Latin? And tell me what you know about Latin. So I'll get them going on some, on some basic sambas, some basic bossa novas. I can play a groove, have them play along. I've used Tommy Igo's book a lot, the bossa nova grooves in there and the samba grooves in there. Just get through some of those songs. And then from there, maybe sprinkle in just a little bit of Afro-Cuban, because I know this much about Afro-Cuban, but I know enough to get through it. Maybe a Costco rhythm or something like that on the side of a timbali, and just the little things that I know. And then again, like you said, Rick, okay, I've got you enough to get you going, and I'm going to pull the training wheels off, and I'm going to send you, to my buddy down in South County, Frank Ortega, who is a Latin monster, and go down there and study with him, because he's going to get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
Refer people over. I think, and the students will know. If you don't, help them reach the goal that you can get them to, but don't be afraid to say, hey, I hope I helped you. I'm not 100% your guy. Now let's go over here.
Yes.
That's what I do. Yeah. Definitely. You don't want to do them a disservice. You don't want to be giving them wrong information at all. I mean, you just don't want to do that.
Nor do you want to assume or have them assume that you are, the be all end all oracle of what they can possibly learn, because,
Right.
we all have the things that we've invested in, and we are a product of all the music we've listened to, the shows we've been to, the books we've practiced out of, the lessons we've taken, and we all end up in different areas of the drumming world.
Right.
And so, turns out we don't know everything. The better. I always tell my students this: the better you get, the more you realize how little you know.
Oh yeah. And this is when one of the things that happens for me. I've got a beautiful, I don't know if you can see it right back there. I got a beautiful, no, you can't. I got a beautiful Fender Strat, and I love that guitar. And I feel weird when I go to play the guitar and I'm like trying to learn how to play this thing. It's like, gosh, I could be playing something on the drum set, but I kind of break myself away and set goals for myself. I'm going to learn a couple of chords and be able to play through a couple of songs, just, hold on to the chords and have fun with it. It makes you a more musical drummer, and it makes you a more musical player. And that in and of itself is a goal for me, because I think as a drummer, again, what I said a minute ago about playing in a session, right? Serving the song. I'm doing that so I can, because I want to be able to play a song on the guitar so that I know what I don't want from the drummer. I don't want him, running me off because I'm trying to just barely hold on to these chords. So those things have helped me too as a drummer. So setting those goals for me has helped me in turn not only be a better drummer, but a better drum teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any specific goals that you've worked on for 2021?
I have some that I'm working on, and that I've actually been working on for a while, since we first started this whole thing. Was right here, and this is Jeremy's fault. So is the Charlie Wilcoxon book, and he's so this is an amazing book, and I have a long-term goal with this book and a short-term goal. And right now, my short-term goal, believe it or not, and it's funny because Jeremy and I were talking about this, and the very first solo in here, Rolling in Rhythm, right? Not a really hard thing, 16th notes, and you can play it straight, you can swing it. But what I'm trying to do is play it as like Steve Smith would play it. I'm trying to swing the note. And I am just simply keeping a quarter note on the hi-hat, putting the right hand, the right hand accents on the floor tom, left hand accents on the top tom, but I'm then putting the kick drum underneath the accent. So a lot of times your feet are countering one another, and well, I can get through it at a real slow tempo, but I'm getting there. And then from there, I'm trying to apply that same thing to Rhythm Mania and Paradiddle Johnny, and some great videos to check out. If you look up Steve Smith, Paradiddle Johnny, and oh my God, man, does he play that piece amazing? And so that was really that was very influential to me, and definitely helped me try to set a goal to be able to do that. So that's one of my goals there. And then on drum set, just trying to expand my horizons a little bit, working on a little bit of Afro-Cuban stuff. And again, not necessarily that I'm going to play that style of music, but I think the independence that it allows you is great. And I've been working a lot, actually, for a number of years on my open-handed playing, again, just because of the independence that it allows you. I mean, look at Gene Hoglan play. You know, he plays open-handed. Watch Simon Phillips play. And man, what you can achieve with your right hand around the kit while just holding the groove together with your left hand is amazing. And it's a lot of work. But again, set little goals for yourself, little goals. I started, I don't mean to be too long-winded, but I started with, you guys ever play through the Melbay's cookbook?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the cookbook. Now, my friend, you guys know Dave Good?
On social media, I know Dave Good.
Oh, dude, Dave Good. He's one of the first drummer friends that I made here in California, and that cat can play. Oh my gosh, can he play? He is amazing. And he had made the comment at one of our drummer hangs, like, yeah, I want to be able to play through the cookbook open-handed, you know, play all those grooves open-handed. And okay. Well, one day I was sitting here and I got it out, and, you know, shouldn't be too hard. I can play Don't Stop Believing.
Famous last words.
Right? Dude, the first groove, just to play the first groove. And I'm not talking playing it musical. I'm not talking selling it with ghost notes and really a lot of feel. I'm just saying getting through the groove open-handed took me about 3 days. It was, and the tricky part was left hand, right foot. It was just so hard to get that to happen. So those are kind of some of my goals. So sorry, I got long-winded there.
Hey,
what about you, Rick? What about you?
Man, I love the open-handed thing. I've been, you know, having Gene for a brother-in-law who's Mr. Open-handed has really opened up my eyes to a way of playing. And so,
Rick, who's your brother-in-law? Tell us.
Gene Hoagland from Testament, and
God, I would love to hang out at your house at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's drum. The holiday time is all just drum talk. It's just so great. Yeah, we're gonna. I just did an interview with him in the studio. He was recording with a composer, Bear McCreary, and so we're gonna be broadcasting that this month. The interview that I did with Gene in the studio, and talking everything under the sun about drums. So that's going to be exciting for later this month. But you know, watching him play and the fluidity of that open-handedness, it's just so great. So it just creates such a balance in your body. And I have to say, you know, like for my teaching, I have 2 kits set up side by side. Now they're way social distance now for COVID, and of course with masks. But I'm doing a limited number of online. Or in person in addition to the online. And so if I'm showing a student a syncopation, you know, just like boom, da, da, da. If I'm showing it to them, I think, you know, why don't I just play it open-handed? So I'm getting a little extra practice in.
Cool.
You know, and I don't see any problem with that at all. And some of them say, hey, I like how you're playing it with your hands that way. I say, well, you know, you should try it. You should try it both ways. But I don't know. It kind of keeps drumming fun for me because while I'm demonstrating, you know, the riff we're working on or the beat to work on it open-handed, and so you know, it's helping me evolve as a student or as a teacher and as a student all at the same time. And so
I like that.
You know, I think it's fair. You know, as long as my groove and dynamics is there, then why not do that? So.
Right.
Oh, you got to get all the practice in whenever you can, man.
Exactly.
Totally. I do the same thing. There's a lot of times I do the same thing. You know, I'm working with the student on something, and that exactly what you just said. I'll be playing the groove for him, and I play it open-handed. You know, and sometimes, hey man, that also, let's face it, that helps with you know, being brave. I mean, because gosh, you know, you're playing in front of a student, and okay, I'm going to play the same thing you are, but I'm going to play it open-handed. Got to be able to pull it off, you know, and sometimes there's that second of, oh, here we go, you know. So
exactly. And so you know, for goals for this year, you know, I want to be happy. That's number one. You know, I want to have a happy body. I want to have a healthy mind. I want to have a happy relationship with my wife, and family and friends. So you know, as time sets in, you know, as time goes by, I think you start discovering that's the really, really important stuff. So, career-wise, you know, for me, I set up this goal. I want to write 4 method books. that kind of cover everything that I know that can be a complete system for teaching. And you know, Roy Burns at Aquarian, you know, I was talking with him about it years ago, and he said, man, the time that you think that it's going to take, just double or triple it.
Yep.
Boy, was he right, because it's going to be about 10 to 12 years to finish up all 4 books.
Wow.
But I set that intent out that I'm going to make these books the best as I possibly can. And, you know, I'm self-published, so I have the luxury of editing. You know, I pair beats with songs, with known songs. So if I find a new song, I might add that to the book. So, you know, there are different versions of the book. I keep evolving it. So,
Great
yeah,
book, by the way.
it's
Great
time.
book.
And I've just realized, man, I've got to work on that. I you know, that's an attainable, fun goal. It's making drumming more fun making teaching more fun for me too. And then it's very easy to get like, oh man, I've got to start video online lessons. Every other person I meet says, dude, you should record videos of you drumming and have that posted. And you know, that's a whole project. I know, Bart, you're jumping into that now, but man, that's time consumption, you know?
Oh, man.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, great. And now I'm going to compete with every person who is doing videos of them teaching, you know? So I realized, man, I got to keep with the core of what makes me money. And that's students coming into my studio in San Diego. So I've got to maintain that first. And then get this book series done. And then, you know, the long-term goals are things like what you're starting to do, Bart, videos of you playing drums, you know, video lessons, and, you know, all of the technology, and, you know, eventually, you know, recording at my studio too. So, yeah, so that's it. And just kind of having fun with everything too. It's real vital. How about you, Jeremy? What are your goals for the year?
Wow. You know, first I just want to acknowledge that we're living in some really challenging times right now. And the fact that we are so fortunate, have the luxury that we can think about these kinds of things as goals, how fortunate we are, right?
Yeah.
That we're not suffering, hungry, homeless, you know, sick. So just want to put that out there.
Thank you.
And then I also want to say, you know, I want to say something about Bart's goal about getting through that Wilcoxon book. I had these patches made up a couple of months ago.
Wow,
I want one of those patches.
Right. So these are just patches I made. My wife made them. She's a graphic designer, and it says Wilcoxon Modern Rudimental Swing Solos. And it's just a, you know, patch you can sew on your jacket or put on your wall. And when Bart saw that I had made those, he's like, I gotta have one of those. I'm gonna get through that book and earn my patch, right?
Yeah.
And
it's gonna go.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's gonna go right there. So the back of my jean jacket. And this jean jacket, this is one of those jean jackets that's like so old and so beat up, and I can't get rid of it. I love this jacket, but it is gonna go right there.
So that's awesome. That's
right
awesome. I made these kind of on a whim, just because I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool? You know, when my students finish that book, they complete it through the first time, at least. That's like a major achievement to get through that book. It's a lot of work. Some really, some challenging solos. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to have something to acknowledge all that work. Just some little small token of, hey, you did it. Good job. So I made these patches up. And Bart saw one, and he needed one right away. And he's working on his diligently. And man, I put these on Facebook, and these things went off like gangbusters. Tons of drum teachers around the country contacted me and said, "Hey, how can I get some of those for my students?" Right. So, and it was like a light bulb went off for me. It's like, wow, yeah, you know, just that little token gesture acknowledgement to the student of like, hey, you know, you did a good job. Here's a goal you can achieve. It's kind of like a belt, you know, in martial arts, right? This is kind of the same idea. So that's really cool. And I'm actually planning on making a series of them for a bunch of different books, so that when my students, you know, finish the book, I can hand them the patch and say, you got this, good job. Anyways, just riffing on motivation and something to work toward, you know, helping.
And that's one of the things that, and you know what, not comparing yourself. I have to take my own medicine there, right? Because I really do. I want one of those patches, but I want to, like, okay, I'm going to play through the book and get cover to cover, right?
Yeah.
And earn the patch. Well, then I start, watching videos, and you start watching Steve Smith, and it's like,
no, that's not what it's about.
Well, I know. And so it's like, so I have to take my own medicine and go, okay, I'm not going to try to play it that way. I'm just going to play through this page, know that I can play the solo. Yeah. And when I call up Jeremy and say, okay, I'm going to play this solo for you so I can get my patch, I can play it, but I also think to set the bar higher, that's how you become a better player and a better teacher.
So, just, I'm going to dig deep on this because I think it's important in the context of our discussion today. Like, when I have a student who comes in as going through that book, what I do is when they're moving on to a new solo, we have them go through it once, just, no metronome, just sort of working out the pieces. Then in the next week, after a week of practice, they show me what tempo they can manage it at, more or less smoothly. And then from there, I set the goal as what I think they should be able to achieve with another 2 to 3, or maybe even more weeks worth of practice on it. So if they can play it relatively okay at 60, I say, okay, depending on what the level of difficulty and where the student's at, I might say, okay, your goal for this is going to be 80. And when you reach 80, we're good, and we're going on to the next one. And that tempo could be different depending on the student, and it could be different depending on the solo. So it's all about trying to give them challenges that they can succeed with and feel like they're making progress and enjoy the process. Okay.
That's great.
So as far as my own goals go, I've just, since COVID, I've gotten into doing some home recording. So I've got my mic set up here, my home studio. And this was down here. This was, we used to call it the man cave in my house. It's the laundry room, and it's where all the junk was. And I cleared it out. I made it into a studio so I could play and practice and record. And that was a major achievement for me just this past year, because I have a studio down in Oakland, but it's been shut down ever since COVID. And I'm not teaching any lessons in person now. It's a really small room. So one of my goals this year is to get better and better at recording and making really good sounding recording drums. I've been fortunate enough to have a handful of paid recording projects come my way since I've had this set up, and I'm making some music with other people remotely and, recording drums for them. So I'm learning as I go, using Logic and microphones and learning to mix drums for the first time on my own. And so that's been a really cool process. I'm still at just ankle deep with it, and looking forward to getting better at that. And making me a better listener, making me a better drummer, more aware of my own sound when I'm making it, As far as another professional goal is to help the Drummers Education Network just kick butt this year. I think what we've got going here is really great. I love Rick, Bart, and Chip. You guys are just great drummers. You're great people. I love hanging out with you every week, and I think we're doing a great service to the drumming community, and I hope that we can expand this through the year and reach more people and provide more great content and have more great drummers on the show that inspire us, and hope continue to inspire other drummers as well. I learn from you guys every time we're here, so that's always a benefit for me.
Me too. Me too, big time.
As far as my playing goes, I'm wanting to work on getting my left foot a little more involved with my comping and my jazz playing, more involved in triplet patterns. So that's something specific I'm working out of a book that a friend of mine put together. His name is Alan Hall, phenomenal jazz drummer. And he's got his own book that he put together. Spacing on the name of it, but it's, just combinations out the wazoo of all different phrasing patterns, using the left hand, left foot, and right foot as equal comping voices underneath the jazz ride pattern.
Cool.
So I'm working on that, and I'm always working on my hands a little bit with the rudimental stuff, just because I enjoy it. So the Wilcox and stuff, even though I've been through that book a couple of times, I still break it out and challenge myself to get them faster, to get them smoother, and I got to earn my own patch. I can't very well give out patches if I haven't earned one myself, right?
I was going to say, do you have 2 patches on your jacket? You said you've been through it a couple of times.
Let me tell you a funny story.
Great topic, Jeremy. You bring up a great topic too, though, like that you played through the Wilcoxon book and that was the goal, but you're going back to work on it, because once you achieve a goal, that's not the end game. You've got to keep up.
Thank you. Right.
Yeah. I will often take students back through a book that they've done a second time.
Yeah.
And because I've done it myself, I mean, there's certain books that I work out of, like, I just think of them as perpetual things.
Yeah,
to work on.
How many times have we all played through this book? Right. I mean,
I have a student right now who's going through Colin Bailey's bass drum control. This is one of the books I use for the second time. He went through it the first time maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and we're doing it again now. And he has said to me how grateful he is that I've sent him through this book a second time, because he's understanding his foot mechanics so much better, and he's able to play, heel up versus heel down, and understand the mechanics of that better. And he's just getting that much more out of the book the second time around.
That's
so
cool.
You gotta this stuff is forever. You can be working on. Look, Steve Smith, one of the best drummers in the world, top 5 drummers in the world, and he's still working out of that book, right?
Totally, completely.
So absolutely. I mean, it's a work in progress. And
I wanted to mention a resource for people on this topic, and that is the Sabian Education Network, SEN. And if you're a drum teacher, I highly recommend you join that group. That's a huge group. Thousands and thousands of worldwide members. It's all hosted by Dom Famulero and Joe Bergamini. And I was just on their forum. And their forum is a great resource. There's all different topics that drummers can contribute. And I was just reading one on goal setting. And so that would be a great one to look at. They were talking about what you do to do you give the students a lollipop, great job, or a sticker, or whatever it is. Just there's so many ideas. So there you go. And so I just wanted to mention that that's a great resource for people. So check out Sabian Education Network.
Oh
yeah, great stuff.
The other goal I have this year is I'm going to want to learn to play a Billy Joel song on the piano.
Oh, dude! Hey! Now calm down there. Don't get all crazy on us.
Oh,
what the hell is wrong with you, man? What are you trying to freak us out over here? That's a little heart attack right there, man.
My son is a monster piano player, and he's 14 and he plays jazz and he plays everything. He's the best musician in the house by far. And I pulled this song up. It's an early Billy Joel song. It's called Summer Highland Falls, and it's got like all this crazy fast arpeggiating stuff. And he looks at me like, "Are you insane?" And I said, "Man, I don't care. I have a very soft spot for Billy Joel. I grew up in New York City in the 80s, and like Billy Joel was like my hero." And so I've always wanted to learn to play some of his music. So anyways, that's one of my pie in the sky goals, but I'm working at it.
Okay, here's so Jim Royal, put his comment up there. It's addressed to you, Jeremy.
Oh,
it's on the bass drum one. You see it there? There we go.
Thanks, Jim. I don't know that book, so that's definitely one I will take a look at. 4-way coordination.
Yeah, I think that's the blue book. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know what, Rick? I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. Right on.
Jim Royal knows his stuff.
Neil LaFortune's on here. He's saying Billy Joel rocks. Go, Jeremy. And
yes, thank you, Neil.
Then he put hashtag Bartbeard. I haven't shaved in a while. Give me a break, man. Hey, you know what? I don't know. I think we're gonna getting close to wrapping it up here, but I do have to say this with the goal setting and everything like that. Our friend Chip is obviously not here today. He sent us a text a couple days ago. He's not feeling real well. And he's going to get a COVID test, and he's, with all this stuff going on, everybody out there, please keep Chip in your thoughts and your prayers. He's a great guy. And honestly, Chip started this whole thing. Chip was the one that reached out to myself and Rick reached out to Jeremy, and it's just been great. And so Chip is a great guy, and we love him to death, and we just want the best for him. So please keep him in your thoughts, because Chip is a little under the weather right now. We want to keep him. We want to get him back on here and feeling better soon.
Yeah.
So coming up soon, next week, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have an interview with our very own Rick Stojak, one of my favorite drummers, favorite people.
Yeah,
And we're also going to have an interview with a terrific drummer. I think she's from the Midwest. Her name's Kelly Ray Tubbs.
Yeah.
She's a mutual friend of ours and a great drummer and educator, and we're going to be excited to chat with her.
Big musical historian.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She's an expert on the evolution of drum set.
I got a lot of good questions for her.
Movies. She's super cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then we're also going to, at some point this month, hopefully have air an interview that Rick did with his brother-in-law, Gene Hoagland, who's one of the most incredible monster heavy metal drummers ever existed. Guy can just play the pants off of anything.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna have a long interview that Rick did with him. That's gonna be really cool.
That'll be on our YouTube channel, and we'll post it here, but that will be on the YouTube channel. All this stuff is archived on the YouTube channel too, so you guys can watch that anytime.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So we, every month we come up with a plate of stuff that we're going to serve up for the month, and that's what's coming up in the next few weeks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I've learned a lot from these guys, Rick and Bart. What a great way to spend my Tuesday every day. I look forward to this every week.
Yeah,
you guys are the best.
Myself too, man.
Thanks everybody for
I had something about goals I wrote last night in closing. And normally I don't write a note and then read it, but I want to read this to you. If you set a goal, the action applied may not lead to the exact or expected outcome, but may bear fruit in other ways that are even better than the original goal in the first place.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So
that's great, Rick. Really well said. That's good inspiration for us for all of us.
Right.
Remember, it's not about achieving. It's about just getting better, making yourself better each day, and committing to the process.
Remember, when you go on vacation, it's not just about getting to your end destination. It's about getting to the airport, getting on the airplane, getting on the plane, enjoying the plane ride, enjoy the journey, the journey to get there. It's not.
That's all there is, man.
That's it.
All there is. All right, signing off. Thanks, you guys. Happy New Year to everybody. We'll see you next week.
Happy
New Year, everybody. Be safe and healthy.